Welcome back for another edition of the Preps Plus Insiders. I'm Mike Finnerty, the Sure West Sports Show, joined by Joe Davidson, the Sacramento Bee, and we're going to start off this week's show with hot topics. We do it each week, and we're going to talk about the Nevada Union Miners. What is going on with their football team?
Struggling up in Grass Valley. Miner Magic for years been the slogan up there. No longer the case. Great program, great tradition, and an example that heavyweights do fall. Team is 0-4, got shut out 43-0 on Friday to Elk Grove. That snaps a state record 344-game scoring streak, meaning they've scored in every game since 1984. No longer, even De La Salle doesn't have that good of a run there. So it happens. You've got a new coaching situation. Dennis Houlihan takes over as a former Miner player from the 1980s, late 80s. Dave Humphries is retired now. Their enrollment's down a little bit. The athletes just aren't there, and it's a tough go. And don't think it's going to be an 0-10 season, but until they figure out their offense and how to block and tackle, those are the words of Coach Dennis Houlihan, they will be 0-10.
Yeah, and they still have the tough SFL league to still come. It's going to be a challenge for them. Let's get into what's been happening through 4 weeks of the high school football season. So much to talk about. We have the usual suspects of top teams. You're talking about Oak Ridge and Folsom and Pleasant Grove and Elk Grove. But you have some teams like Casa Roble that have really surprised, Rio Linda. So what are we to make of the first 4 weeks of this season?
Well, the heavyweights have backed it up.
Yep.
Folsom with Jake Browning. And it's just a passing machine. He's poised, he's prolific. He's got Will McClure as a receiver. Offensive line just doesn't allow him to get beat up. So that's a 5-0 team at the start. And then you have number 2 ranked Elk Grove off to a great start. Great line play, great running with Wadis Parker, number 21. He could pound it in short. He could do 60-yard runs. Excellent defense. Noah Latuya Gassanoa leads the way there. Granite Bay off to a good start. How will they do if they have to lose Tony Ellison with a knee for a couple of games or maybe even longer? We got our fingers crossed for him. He's one of the terrific running backs, flyback talents out there. Upstart teams like Casa Roble, like you said. Casa Roble is proof that you can go 1-9, which they did last year, the Rams, and then bounce back strong. Peyton Wilfley, you're impressed with him. I'm impressed with him. Coach loves him. He will bark at his teammates. He's the hardest working guy. So you've got it in Division 1, 2, and 3. Heavyweight-looking programs.
Then you have the upstart programs. We talk about your Jesuit. It's hard to believe they're an upstart, but sort of a surprise. We'll see how it goes for them in league play. We talk about Rio Linda behind their running backs, Marcel Brown, Leo Scadaboo. Two guys leading that team on the ground. Longtime head coach Mike Morris. We've talked about them a lot. Can Roseville make a leap up there in the Sierra Foothill League? They were playing well until they got hit pretty hard by Casa. It's going to be interesting to see. Do you have an idea of a team that might surprise in some league somewhere?
Another team that has been off to a good start, that's been a long-time power, has been Bear River, off to an unbeaten start. Long-time co-coaches Scott Savoy and Terry Logue. So the Pioneer Valley League with Center, with Placer, with Lincoln. So very strong league there. How about will Del Campo recover? And what's going to happen with Intercom? Intercom plays its next game in Tri-Valley League play against Tri-County League play against Yuba City, which is off to another good start. How about Ponderosa? Ponderosa's 4-0. How good are the Bruins? We certainly have always been impressed with Coach Jason Tenner. Mike, we've said it all year. This area is top-heavy, but your middle and your, quote, bottom of the rankings are very strong. We talked about some of these teams that weren't even ranked. Colfax, also the Pioneer Valley League. I'm looking at some, really good league races shaping up. Next week we will break down the league races.
Yeah, let's not forget about another team, Yuba City as well, off to a great start. All right, let's talk about some players now. One player you and I didn't have a chance to talk a lot about before the season started, but a guy that we are talking about a lot now is Casa Roble senior quarterback Peyton Wilfley. Wow, he is impressive. I had a chance to see him for the second time already this year. He threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for another 3 against Roseville. They beat the Tigers 55-35. And we know about Jake Browning of Folsom and Matt Jimison of Vista Del Lago and now Ian Book of Oak Ridge. And there's lots of quarterbacks out there. But where do we put Peyton Wilfley in this group of top-tier quarterbacks in Sacramento?
Right up there with all those others. He's a scholar. He's a leader. He's got that powerful build, totally motivated to recover from last season's 1-9 start. He's the varsity guy last year for a program that is so used to winning with quarterback play, and they wouldn't win tonight. And he took it personal. And it was a rebuilding year. Youth, boy, they're growing up fast. Coach Norman Ryan's got another great one right there. You have a senior quarterback leader like that, you're going to win games. You're going to win championships.
You are. All right, let's talk about some high school football games coming up on Friday. A lot of teams are off this week, but we do get a chance to see some other teams as well. Let's start off with our previews. We're going to talk about Ponderosa taking on Rio Linda. Ponderosa unbeaten, Rio Linda on a roll, only one loss. I know Ponderosa won last year. This feels like it could be Rio Linda's year in this game.
Oh, I agree. And Best is the next Best up there in Shingle Springs for
Best is the
Ponderosa.
best.
And he's a receiver. His brother was the quarterback last season. Jason Turner, the longtime coach for Ponderosa, does an excellent job. So after that encouraging 4-0 start, which they needed to get some momentum going in the Delta River League, but Leo Scatabo and Marcel Brown is a terrific 1-2 running back combination, as good as there is in the entire section.
And then we're going to wrap it up with a game that has the St. Mary's Rams taking on the Del Oro Golden Eagles. We know how good St. Mary's is. We know how good Del Oro is. They got that impressive 38-35 win over Grant in double overtime last week. You know, we think of Del Oro primarily as a running team, but Michael Moore, he had 4 touchdown passes against Grant. They get a last-second field goal. Del Oro can beat you many ways.
Yes, and to stop Del Oro, you primarily have to stop the run. And so if everybody loads up in the box, then it's daring the quarterback to throw. And he exposed Grant. And so now you have a balanced team. And Del Oro impressively bounced back from its route loss at De La Salle. And had Del Oro come out of there and gotten wiped out again, then the non-league scheduling would have been counterproductive. It's still productive. Del Oro is 2-2, big win against Grant. And St. Mary's is a spread team. Tony Frank's been there a long time. St. Mary's has had just about enough of Del Oro. This is 2 years in a row in the playoffs, the last 2 years, where Del Oro has beaten the Rams in the playoffs.
Yep. Well, that's this week's edition of the Preps Plus Insiders. Remember to catch the Sure West Sports Show every Tuesday on Comcast Sportsnet California, 4:30 p.m., and also reairs Wednesdays and Thursdays. Check your local listings. We also do a radio show as well, Joe.
Every Saturday, live from 9 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 1320. Link later, podcast form, ESPN1320.net. Big picture, interviews, looking back, look ahead, and then we're all over the Sacramento. Will be in the print version, online, video, sacb.com, here, there, and everywhere.
That's right. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week as we break down league games.